Hi everyone, and thank you for joining this resistance band session. We're predominantly focusing on legs today, so you will need to have a loop of band of some description. You can use a straight band and tie it up. You can also have a straight band. Some of the exercises do have optional arm bits to it too, so you can just do the legs or you can add in some arm bits as well if you really want to. I think it's important to add in the resistance for various reasons. Obviously it makes the exercises harder, it highlights the differences in strength so you can assess your symmetry to a much greater level, but also it helps to build strength through a range and not just in one particular part of your movement. So it's really useful to add in from time to time. So let's get started. Make sure that everything is relaxed through your upper body, and then we're just going to walk on the spot, making sure your hips and knees are nice and mobile and you're not holding any tension. Then see if you can bring that into some marching. So open up through your hips. Just go as far as feels comfortable through your hips. Don't try and force the issue. Okay, then I'd like you to stand at one end of your mat with your feet together-ish, comfortably together. They don't have to be stuck together. Knees soft. You're going to slide your hands down the front of your legs, curling through your spine as you go. Pause at the bottom for a breath in. And then as you breathe out, tuck down with your pelvis and you're uncurling from the bottom of your spine back up to the top. And again, tuck your chin into your chest and try to visualise that every single vertebra is moving one after the other all the way down to the bottom of the movement. Breathe in again at the bottom, and then as you breathe out you're tucking down with your pelvis and feel yourself uncurling, visualising that movement, visualising every single vertebra stacking one on top of the other to the top. And then one more time, tuck your chin into your chest and you're curling up as tightly as you possibly can all the way down to the bottom. Breathe in, and then as you breathe out you're going to go down onto your mat, and I would like you to start with your loop of band around your knees. We're going to do the clown. Now this exercise is much maligned, so obviously you don't do this exercise if you've got any hip pain on the outside of your hip, because this will irritate it, but you're probably not doing this session anyway if that is you. This exercise maybe is maligned because it doesn't necessarily do what people think it does, which is very specific glutes exercises, but it is still a useful exercise to do because we still need to have strength in our hip into that rotation movement, particularly when you're a rider, you're getting on and off a horse, that sort of thing. You need to have good control through your hip in every single direction. So I don't think this exercise is bad unless you're trying to do it for the wrong reasons or you have hip pain. So you're going to start with your feet and knees stacked on top of each other, knees in front of you, feet lined up with your bottom, that little mouse hole position open, and you're opening and closing your top knee. Don't try and force it, particularly if you're using a high level resistance band. Don't feel you've got to really force the issue. You're just going to end up rotating back through your pelvis. If you find this is a little bit easy, just make the movement a little bit bigger by lifting your feet off the floor. But still keep the mouse hole position open. I don't know how well you can see one. I feel like I'm in a bit of a dip. So it's like the grass probably cutting me off about here. But I do have a mouse hole. I can fit my hand into it. Okay, then before your glutes get too tired, I'd like you to straighten your legs. I'm going to shuffle this way a bit, just off my mat. And I'd like you to have your loop of band around your ankles now. Okay, so before you start, check your mouse hole position. If you can, have your top hand onto the top side of your pelvis. If not, on the floor in front of you is absolutely fine. You're lifting your leg up just into the resistance of your band. Take the leg slightly behind you, slightly in front of you, and rest back down. So the mouse hole is open, just lift into the resistance, slightly behind, slightly in front, and rest back down. Don't again try and force it. What we're looking for here is for you to be able to control that movement from your hip. So you're not bending through your knee, but also you're not drifting around, wobbling. Think of a dog wagging its tail really hard and how the body joins in. You're thinking of doing this like a dog that's just very quietly, happily relaxed, but is gently wagging its tail, but the body is staying still. That is the image that you want to be channeling at the moment. Okay, we're going to do one more. Super. Okay, we're going to turn straight round and do exactly the same thing onto the other side. Get it over and done with, and then we're going to move into a different position. So again, you're going to start with your band around your knees in that nice clam position. Get the grass out of the face, mouse hole position open, and you're opening and closing that top knee and slowly back down. Don't feel you've got to push it. Again, you don't want to be rolling backwards, and that's one of the challenges when you add in the resistance. You may find that the movement available is a little bit smaller. Don't worry about it, just modify the movement and work within what you can do. And again, if this is easy, lift those feet rather, and then you can lift the top knee a little bit further, but still keeping your mouse hole open. So yeah, you don't want to feel that you've got to, when you add in the resistance, it's like adding in weights. You don't need to suddenly be able to do exactly the same quality and quantity and range as you would do without the resistance. That would be crazy. You want to build to be able to do that, but modify to begin with, making those movements a little bit smaller, make it a bit easier, give your body a chance to adapt to the new training method. Okay, then we're going to bring your legs down and pop that band once again around your ankles, mouse hole open, if possible top hand onto that top headlight, float your top leg, you're taking the leg behind you, in front of you, and resting back down. So it's up, slightly behind you, slightly in front, and down. Again, you're moving from your hip, so try to keep your pelvis absolutely still. So your hip, remember, is in your groin. That is where the movement is coming from. Keep your knees straight as well. So all the workload is coming around your hip, using all those stabilizers through your hip, but also having to use your tummy muscles and all the muscles around your pelvis to keep you still through here. So you're isolating that movement nicely to your hip. Okay, we're going to turn onto your back, and we're going to start with your hip twist. So you've got various options with your hip twist with a resistance band. You can go on the floor, feet on the floor, rolling one knee out side to side with your band on your knees. You can do the same thing in tabletop. Band stays around your knees and you're rolling each leg out. So it's not just the knee, it's the whole leg. Or if you want to go for the killer version, band around your ankles and you're taking the whole leg out from here. So you could choose which one to do. This is also one where you've got the additional choice of the arms as well if you want. So it's the same wherever your legs are with this exercise. Nice one. Hands above your shoulders, one end of the band in each hand, and you're taking opposite arm going out in the opposite direction to the leg that you are moving. This is one of the wine glass exercises. It's a double wine glass exercise. The knee that isn't moving wants to have an imaginary wine glass on it, as does the hand that isn't moving. So you're looking for that real stillness through the hip and the thigh and the shoulder down to the arm on the side that you're not working, and then that controlled movement on the side that you are working. And that's really what you're trying to achieve in the saddle as well. Yes, you have to move your arms and legs when you're applying the aids and steering and braking and so on, but it shouldn't interfere with everything else. Okay, pop the handband onto the floor frame, but bring your feet down one at a time. We're going to move on to your hundreds, and you have exactly the same three options with your hundreds. You can have feet on the floor, band around your knees, tabletop band around your knees, tabletop band around your ankles. Whichever position you choose, you want a little bit of tension on that band. So you're just pushing your legs out into the band. Try to think of those ribs sinking towards your pelvis, pelvic floor onto floor 3, and then you're patting those imaginary puddles of water by your sides, holding that little bit of tension on the band all the way through. Remember to breathe as well. This is a good one for adding in things like your pelvic floor when you're breathing, because it's not a complicated exercise. So focus on just keeping that movement going, that little bit of tension on the band, but the breathing and the pelvic floor as well. Okay, feet down one at a time. We're going to move on to your shoulder bridge. So band up around your knees. If you're using a headrest, slide it out of the way, and then bring your feet a little bit closer towards your bottom. Before you start, pelvic floor onto floor 3, you're imprinting your low back into the floor as you peel up each vertebra one at a time until you get to the top of your shoulder bridge position. Make sure you can breathe when you get to the top, and then you're coming back down, imprinting the low back when you get to the bottom. So these first couple of goes, just be thinking about that quality, that peeling up, that feeling of your spine being like a string of pearls all the way up and all the way back down, gently keeping that pressure out on the resistance band throughout. Okay, this is another one where you've got the option of the hand band. You can of course do the hand part of this without the band if you don't have one, or you just don't want to use it, and you don't have to use the hands at all if you find that you're too unstable by taking them up above you. So hands above your shoulders, again a little bit of tension on this band as well. Then you're going to come back up into your bridge, stay up in your bridge, and you're going to straighten each leg in turn. Now you can do one with each leg and then bring yourselves back down, or you can just stay up here and keep going like I'm doing. The object of this is to keep the knees out against the band so the band isn't pulling your knees in. You want to keep that stability on the legs as you go through the movement. You want your pelvis to stay still, but you also want your hands to stay still. And actually I find with the band in my hands it's really useful because I can just see, even without looking at my hands, I can see out of the corner of my eye whether my band is staying still or whether it's starting to twist, my hands are going up and down. So it's a really useful visual reminder as well as being a good strengthening exercise, just that ability to keep my hands very still and maintain that little bit of tension. Okay, bring yourselves back down, keep your hands up to the ceiling if you've got them there. We're going to go back up into the bridge, keeping the knees out into the band, and do some of those hip dips. So you're lowering one side of your pelvis, and back up, and then lowering the other side of your pelvis, and back up. This time your knees are staying still, your hands are staying still, that little bit of tension on both bands, but you're looking for that controlled movement down through your pelvis, which is exactly what you need in the saddle. If you're following the movement of the horse, one side of your pelvis follows, then the other. A bit quicker than this probably, but for quality purposes we're keeping this quite steady. Okay, then you're going to bring yourselves back down, imprinting at the bottom, bring that handband onto the floor, and then we're going to bring yourselves up, take the band off. We're going to come up into standing, but it's not obviously safe to get up onto your feet with a band around your ankles. Okay, we're going to start off with your band looped around your feet. Now this loop I bought as a loop. I've had really good feedback from my clients when using these loops. I actually find them a little bit long. They're more comfortable because they don't wrinkle up, but they're a little bit long, and I find I have to work a little bit hard to find the resistance. So if you've got a shorter loop at home, you won't be able to get quite the same movement that I'm going to get on this next exercise. We're going to march on the spot. So it's the same movement we did right at the beginning of this session, bringing one foot up into that resistance and slowly back down. The key here is to watch that you don't get pinged back down. This is a really good hip flexor, front of the hip, tummy muscle exercise, but it only really works if you control the movement, keeping it really steady on the way back down, and you're not cheating and letting the band pull you back down. So keep it very steady. Okay, one more, and then pop your band around your ankles instead, and we're going to do some little mini lunges. And again, my band is a bit loose for me. If you've got a tighter one, you won't be able to do quite such a big movement as I'm going to be able to do next. So you're going to go forwards, keeping that band around your ankles, and then we'll swap to the other side, forwards and side. And what you're trying to do is keep your shoulders over your pelvis, so your body isn't starting to join in, just as you would in the saddle. So this bit of you isn't moving, all the work is coming through your hips and through your legs. But again, this is a nice one because you really have to control in multiple directions against the resistance of the band. We'll do one more with each leg. Last go. Okay, super. Then we're going to take this band off and have a little walk on the spot. Let everything just rest, and then just see if you can stand on one leg. Tone everything down. Nothing's actually moving. You're just letting everything switch off. And then see if you can stand on the other leg. Same thing again. Everything just relax. Okay, then you're going to stand facing one end of your mat, one foot just in front of the other. Take your weight forwards, then a little step back, push that heel down, lengthen through your calf. And again, a little step back, lengthen through that calf. I'm going to do one more. Then bring your back foot level with the front foot, take your front foot slightly behind, and we're going to do the same thing this way. So leaning your weight forwards, then that little step back, pushing down, lengthening through that calf, and again a little step back, lengthen through that rear calf. We're going to do one more of these, little step back, lengthen. Okay, and then bring both feet back together and underneath you. Make sure you're not holding any tension through your neck, shoulders, down through your legs. Make sure you're breathing into the base of your lungs. And we're going to stop there. So thank you so much for doing that one. I do like the challenges of a resistance band. It's always good to add in from time to time. And as I said at the beginning, it really highlights differences between left and right, which you didn't know you had if you don't work without it. So even if you don't do it all the time, use it as a gauge of how good your strength and how good your strength through range is from side to side. Thanks for watching. Always, if you do these, please do share them on your social media. It makes such a difference when other people see what you're enjoying, and then they can come and enjoy it too. Have fun whatever you're doing with your ponies at the moment, and I will see you very soon.